I don't believe in Santa Claus. I've always known he was just made up. Someone parents told their kids about just so they would behave during the holidays. Nevertheless, I was always grateful for the double gifts, one from my parents and one from Santa, and would wake up every Christmas morning with a gold and silver present wrapped up at the foot of the bed tagged "From Santa." This went all the way through my high school years, and though by that time I started to feel this was highly unnecessary, I continued to play along. It was just my parents' way of spoiling me, as I was their only child. However, it had to stop eventually, and I soon had to leave for college. Christmas came while I was a busy college freshman, but I couldn't help wanting to visit home before the season was over. As I was traveling, however, I received a call from our neighbors telling me to come home immediately. I told them I was on my way, but was by the less merry and more anxious. As soon as I arrived home, I dropped my bags onto the snow and pushed past the policeman into my house. There, in the wreckage of the living room, lay the bloody and mangled bodies of my beloved parents. On the walls, in what looked to be written in blood, were the words, "Where is she?" Before the policeman pulled me away, however, I noticed a single, untouched gift in gold and silver wrapping under the Christmas tree. I don't believe in Santa Claus, but I do believe in monsters. It was Merry Christmas Eve, and I was a freshman in high school. My family has been split up for some time, so normally we trade off Christmas Day and Christmas Eve together, every year. And this year, I had come home early from my grandparents' Christmas party, while everyone else was at Aunt and Uncle celebrating at another party. When I was dropped off, my cousins offered to stay with me for a few hours, yet I declined. I thought I would watch some of my new DVDs and get some alone time in the house, which is a rarity. I had noticed an unfamiliar car parked on the street, but didn't think anything of it, considering it was Christmas Eve. Probably a neighbor's relative or something. After I got inside, I locked the door, grabbed snacks, and started to settle down. I hadn't been home for more than 15 minutes when there was a loud knock at the door. I unlocked the door and opened it only a crack to see a man standing there, with dark hair, glasses, slightly overweight, and dressed casually. He didn't look much of a threat, but my stomach dropped. He asked, "I was wondering about the car outside. Is it for sale?" I told him I don't think so. "Is there someone here I could talk to about it?" I said, and quite stupidly I might add. "No, you can come back at another time," and shut the door and turned the lock as fast as I could. He reached for the handle immediately and started pounding on the door. I heard a string of profanities and pounding stopped. Terrified, I was crawling on the floor to the phone, hoping he wouldn't be able to see me through one of the windows. Then I heard noises. Our house had an open garage door, and it led to the laundry room, where the door locked was broken, and no one had bothered to fix it. Just then I heard a man yell, and I saw a man through the window run to his car and drive off. My uncle had gotten him just in time and scared the man off. Who knows what would have happened if he hadn't made it home in time. Sadly, we didn't get the plate number, and nothing ever came of it. But I'll never be home alone on a holiday again. I have to admit, I'm not a fan of Christmas, not due to any Scrooge-like tendencies or anything, but because of what I saw when I was 7. I was very excited to see what was going on to get on Christmas Day. So I crept down the stairs 2 or 3 in the morning. The grandmother clock said in the hallway it was slowly ticking. I remember it only too well. I found myself shaking as I turned the living room doorknob. Was I that excited? Why did the metal feel so cold? So as not to wake my parents, I slowly pushed the door open. It would squeak if you did it too fast. and I crept into the living room. It was dark and cold. I mean, so cold I could make out my breath and what little light there was in there. Was the heating broken? I wondered. The switch to the dimmer lights was next to the door. I turned it on slowly and turned the dial. In the diminishing gloom, I could make out armchairs and the Christmas tree beneath which I could already see a glimpse of the presents, and leering, skinless face that was now just an inch away from me. Its pupilless eyes seemed to stare right through me, as its stench hit my nostrils like a rotting meat by a burnt ozone. The thing reared back, its lipless face falling back behind the ragged hood of its war. It turned away and limped toward the tree. I could see more of it now. It was swooped, withered, emaciated, and cadaverous, draped with rotting rags of what I guess must have been a robe. The thing was mesmerized by the tree, its head swiveling eerily from side to side as it contemplated what was before it. Then it turned and looked directly at me, lifting a long, bony finger up to its face where its lips may have once been. My mouth was agape. I was rooted to the spot. I tried to scream, but no noise came out. Finally, I managed to slowly retreat to the living room, turning off the lights as I went. I closed the door quietly and crept up the stairs, too petrified to do anything else. I ran to my room and hid under the covers. Only then did I manage to silently sob with fear. The next morning, I put on a brave face and pretended to be as excited as I unwrapped my presents with everyone else. Mom must have known there was something wrong, as she asked if I was okay. I lied and I said I was just tired and couldn't sleep the night before, as you do when you're 7 and it's Christmas Eve. She hesitated for a moment but brushed it off, as we picked up torn wrapping paper left behind. But all I could think of was that thing I saw the night before. I barely played with my new toys. I just kept seeing its face every time I closed my eyes. As the years had drawn on, I pondered this in some detail. We've forgotten what Christmas really is. It is how we used to survive the darkest, grimmest time of the year. That's what all the tinsel and merrymaking and Santa Claus all stems from. That need to shut out the darkness and the howling blizzard outside. Yet, I think there is something else too. All that crap about Christmas being magical is true. We dress it up with elves and reindeer and red noses, but it's more than that. There's a reason why we used to tell ghost stories at Christmas till Halloween took over. It is the one point of the year where boundaries between this world and others are at its thinnest. No wonder they have a festival and nativity this time of year. Consciously or not, we're warding off the horror that seeps into our world during Yuletide. Maybe all the rituals, tacky though they are these days, appease the things that wait. And ward them off for another year. What's a Christmas tree but an old pagan totem decorated in candles, a ward or an appeasement? These days I just blot it out of my mind and pretend I'm a Buddhist or something. But there's one last thing I will never forget. All those years ago, the next night, the scrawled note I saw under my pillow, it said just one word. Shh. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Stay creepy. Don't forget to like and subscribe.